This episode of the Gentleman's Scofflaw podcast is brought to you by Phoenix Shaving.
You are listening to the Gentleman's Scofflaw podcast. Listener beware.
Rise and shine, the liquor store is open. I ain't got time for moping. I best be on my way. Well, I still got time to save my reputation. Time to go day drinking in this dirty little town.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Welcome to the Gentleman's Scofflaw podcast, the podcast for the Rebel and the Renaissance Man. With me, always, in person, is the Donovan Fowler.
Hello.
And then all the way up in the Great White North is Johnny Boy.
Hi.
How you doing? Were you mouthing it because you got so used to that now? Were you doing the thing where you're mouthing
Yeah, I was mocking you.
Yeah, you
I was mouth mocking you.
You jerk. Well, let's start off with some housekeeping before we go into this very fine Thanksgiving Day episode. What do we got here, Donovan? What are you opening here?
Got a very angry can of
Crap.
A very angry can
What is
of
in your
Murphy's.
trunk?
I just picked them up from Trader Joe's.
Really?
There's a lot of Irish angst inside these cans.
Murphy's?
Murphy's, yeah.
Those
Murphy's
look
imported
good.
stout. They are great.
They are good. I like
It's
these.
been a while since I've had a Murphy's, and I just thought, you know what? I'll shake things up because they were out of simpler times.
I don't know. I don't think I like that saying. It's been a while since I've had a Murphy's. It sounds like it's like something that,
Well, you know
like
why?
an act that's done to you.
Well, you know why? Okay, to be fair, I did switch over to Guinness for a while,
Yeah.
which was against my grain initially, but I started to get more of a taste for what is it? Guinness Extra Stout, which is a little bit more bitter and rich.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, "This tastes terrible," and then I started to actually appreciate it. But yeah, Murphy's, it's just smooth and has that kind of, it's a distant cousin to chocolate milk in a way.
I didn't know there was a second Guinness. That's interesting.
Yeah, it actually comes from the second Guinness. Oh, there's all kinds of Guinness.
We only have one, I
There's
think.
many. Well, you have the normal Guinness, which isn't actually even Guinness technically, because they changed the recipe sometime during the industrial era due to the fact that a lot of these Irish factory workers were going to lunch and getting rather sloshed on their lunch break, so they had to take the recipe down to cut the alcohol content in half. But that's actually the real recipe is available in some form. I can't remember. My dad and I once found it in a very small liquor store, and it's a little different. But anyways, there's a bunch. They have Guinness Blonde, and then they have Harp, which is sort of they're really taken to Harp. But anyways, Murphy's. To Murphy.
To Murphy land.
To Murphy. It's by far my go-to, and I don't mean to be telling tales out of school, but it might be because Black Friday's coming up. Trader Joe's seems to be a Black Friday. Trader Joe's seems to be marking down a lot of its liquor. Now,
Really?
not beer-wise, but I'll tell you what, I walked by their whiskey section and their scotch on the way to the beer, and I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense.
This is insane.
This is insane.
Wow.
I grabbed
That's
the
a low
nearest,
price.
I grabbed the nearest soccer boy by the lapels, and I said, what are you trying to do?
What are you doing here, kid? You're killing
I
me,
got
Larry.
a question
Yeah, go ahead,
for
John.
you Americans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do they call it Black Friday? What's the meaning?
Because it's the day where many people die while they
Because
get
America-
trampled on. Because people want to get
Because
this
America's the
guy
most
TV.
racist country in the world. Don't you know that, John?
I want a real answer.
I don't know. I think it's
It's probably an inside joke with stores that they
probably.
or I don't know, in the black. Isn't that like a term where you're financially
oh
successful?
maybe that would make sense.
Maybe that has something to do with
What
it.
are you drinking there, John?
I have nothing. I don't even have an empty cup.
Oh, you jerk! All
He's
right,
making up for it by wearing a Wops Hops shirt.
and I
There
am
you go.
smoking my Country Gentleman corncob pipe, and in it I've got some 2016 Holiday Spirit blend from last year.
Nice.
And later on the show, I'm doing this as a tribute to our guest, Scott from Aristocob. And as you guys know, it's International Corncob Pipe Month. So I think it's maybe it was planned. Maybe it was planned why we're having him on, right?
Is that a little bit of Donald Trump?
I would never say that.
I don't know.
I would never say that I planned
I got
that.
them out of jail in China. Why would why would he not congratulate? I can never. I was talking to somebody about this recently. I can never do a full-on Donald Trump impression. It's terrible.
I can't do
I always go off into other it either turns into Joe Pesci or Marlon Brando from The Godfather. I don't get it. But anyways, John, you were saying something before I really cut you off.
It just came to me, the meaning of Black Friday. I figured it out with the help of the Google machine. So it's the day of the year when merchants finally turn a profit during the year.
Oh, well, that's kind of what you said, being in the black, right?
I think I told this story maybe once before, but around this time last year, I was on a quest to find a pair of boots that were just like the best boots ever. Because I was going on a trip in Europe and I needed something that was going to be utilitarian but also stylish.
Yeah, you were hoping to attract the European gals with your fancy American
Eastern
boots.
Europe, you gotta, the boots are made for walking.
My best pair of boots that I ever owned, I inherited from Jordan's dad when they moved down to Texas. And I literally wore those things into the ground, and they had holes that I tried filling with shoe repair, which didn't work at all.
You should have taken them to an actual
cobbler.
shoe repair cobbler.
Yeah, he said he couldn't fix it.
You know what's funny?
They were that far gone.
Wait, are you guys gonna let me finish my story?
Let me finish.
For the love of God.
I thought we decided it was finished.
Whatever. Fine. Yeah, whatever.
So where do you find your boots?
All right. So I went into I eventually found them at Uggs.com, which is another story for another place. But they're not what you think. Not like the Ugg boots, like the traditional Ugg boots, but like better boots.
With your carpenter pants and your oversized hoodie.
The Aussie, yeah, such a hipster. But no, I walked into REI and
John's a little sick, guys.
Yeah, he's dying over there. But I walked into REI, and REI is supposed to be a pretty sporty store.
Yeah.
I asked the girl where the boots are. She shows me, and I'm like, I don't really participate in Black Friday, but I was like, okay, maybe I'll ask. Do you have any Black Friday deals? She gives me the dirtiest.
Gosh, John.
Trying to censor me over here?
You did tell this story on this show before.
Then we can cut it. Jeez. Oh my gosh. It's been a long day. Anyways, regardless, she gave me the dirtiest look with her nose ring and everything and said, we don't participate in Black Friday, and I felt like she was going to call security to usher me out of the store.
Was she chewing on a Luna bar too, with her little pumpkin pie haircut?
Yeah.
Haircut.
I'm sure she had one in her pocket ready to bust it out. But
it's funny. One of my best pair of boots I've had for like 4 years, and they're still going strong. Are just some Clark's desert boots.
Clark's are solid.
And surprisingly enough, too, my brother gave me some boots that were too small for him that were Skechers that I've had for like a few years.
I had a pair of Skechers for about 3 years.
They're like suede, like work boots. They're like they look like a classic shoe, not like the walking shoe or whatever.
Not like the working. Yeah. No, I mean Skechers will surprise you, and Clark's is always just like a solid choice.
Yeah.
I feel like a shoe review.
I always wanted to get a pair of Converse, but I have high arches.
Just put an insole in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they're too tight.
Don't be a pussy. Just get an insole. Everybody knows Converse is the toughest shoe around.
Yeah. worn by toddlers and punk emo kids alike.
What's the rule that was this? I think this may have been a Tanner Guzzi rule that if you're over 30, or no, maybe if you're over, I can't remember, but if you're over 30, you can't wear any color Converse except for white.
Really?
I think
that's funny.
I don't know,
what about the white and black ones? The classic.
Nope.
The black and white ones.
Really? You just look like a little kid.
The black and white ones?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought that was the classic Converse.
Yeah.
No, I think the classic.
I feel like
is
you
white.
get away with gray.
Gray. Yeah, I could see you getting away with gray.
Right.
What was the name of those shoes, the deck shoes that used to have Jordan that I liked, but I never got?
Talking about Vans?
Sperry's?
The ones with the checkers on them?
No, they had the little white and black squares.
Yeah, Vans. They're the traditional Vans.
No, that's not it.
You're talking about the Jeff Spicoli shoes from
I don't
Fast
know
Times
who
at
that
Ridge
is.
Mountain High. Sean Penn, he hits his skull. He's like, "That's my skull."
I'm so high.
with the Vans. Anyway, yeah, I used to
Very
wear
few
those.
people know that was actually Sean Penn's skull.
It was Sean
It
Penn's
was
skull.
that movie that gave him so much brain damage, and now we have Sean Penn today.
Speaking of Black Friday, later on the show, we're going to have a Black Friday deal expert to help all our listeners get the best possible deals they can get on Black Friday.
I'm excited. I'll be setting my alarm clock.
You guys got any Thanksgiving plans? I know you don't, John, because you guys hate freedom up there.
We just have our Thanksgiving so much earlier because I think it's because we're so much farther north.
Yeah.
Isn't that it? Because our harvest time is earlier in the season or something?
Maybe.
Nobody cares.
It could just because you're just ungrateful. You're not thankful.
And it's also only one day, and it's a Monday instead of a Thursday, Friday, which is much better.
Yeah. Well, we get Thursday and Friday off usually.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's much better than having just the Monday.
Monday.
Yeah,
Thing
that's
is,
true.
Monday will Canada will take holidays. They'll create holidays after a holiday. They'll be like,
Like Boxing
it's like
Day.
Easter was on a Sunday. We got Monday off.
That's pretty resourceful. I'll give them that, but they are
I
bullshit
guess
holidays.
we do that with 4th of July, I think, too. If it falls on a weekend, we have a long weekend.
Yeah,
right?
but we don't call it, like, we don't designate it something. We pretty much just say, hey, like, we'll look the other way if you don't come back.
Well, what is it on, like, sometimes on the schedules or the calendars, they say, like, 4th of July observed or, like, Easter observed. Like, does that mean that
I
that's,
think it
like, a
means that you
federal
don't
holiday?
have
or?
to, that you don't have to give your workers that off or something.
Oh, okay. That makes
Well, I
sense.
think the thing with Easter is that
Why would
fluctuates,
4th
right?
of July not
it's
be a
supposed to be
federal
like
holiday?
the third Sunday of March or April or something. I
Yeah.
don't know how it works, but it doesn't always fall on the same calendar date.
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
No.
maybe, yeah. But then 4th of July would. Guys, we're going to figure this out.
All right,
Let's
this
bust
is
out the
just
entire six-pack on this one.
Do you guys, I mean, we kind of kicked off our holiday week last week. Well, my wife and I went to the Glendale tree lighting, which is
Thrilling.
fun. We had a Dancing with the Stars guy hosting it and everything.
Was it at the Glendale Grove?
It
as
was,
I like to
the
call it?
Glendale Grove. Is it the
The
Americana?
clone. Yeah.
But I couldn't believe, this is the first time I've been to an outing in a while, like with that big of a crowd, how many people were watching the event from their phones and not experiencing it.
Yeah,
And it
it's
made me
pretty
very
sad.
depressed.
Yeah, pretty sad. Yeah, it's weird. It's like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I was talking to a priest about this. That sounded like a different conversation I'd be having. No, but like, I'm trying to remember, you know, in the Catholic Church, how we burn incense.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, what do they call it? Damn it, I was an altar boy. I should know this. No.
You altar boy.
but I, you know, you swing the, it's a pendulum, but it's called something specific.
It's
and
like
it
it's like a
spreads the kind of.
Looks
yeah,
kinda
it's
like
on
a lamp.
chain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it could be used as a weapon. It very much looks like a mace. Anyways, regardless, that's what us Catholics do. We take those weapons, we turn them into holy
There's
items.
a lot of pomp and circumstance, isn't there?
There is, and we love every bit of it. But anyways, it spreads the smoke around, and in Europe they have this huge one that's like, it's medieval, so like it took a lot of technology to make it work, but it like swings from like one corner of this giant cathedral all over the place, and it fills the entire cathedral with this incense.
I feel like you need like a CrossFit priest to do. Sounds
well,
like a CrossFit item.
It's very much like you ring a bell. It's like it's like a mechanism or something that gets it going. But anyways, his point is that like you see pictures of it that are taken by professional photographers who are supposed to be there, and everybody is on their phone. Like everybody's watching this. Like this kind of wonder of technology that was before its time, even though it was like only had one use. And then, but everybody's watching it while they're recording it on their phone. And there is something to being present in the moment in those, especially when you're with people. You know, I can maybe understand if you're alone, but that's actually something in John Sipidy's The Dating Project that was brought up. One of the subjects in that film was talking about how he went to New York for just a trip, and he was on his own, and he just kept posting on his phone all day. And one day he took a ferry across from the Statue of Liberty, and his phone ran out of battery. And he said he just got hit with this like intense loneliness. And I think that's something. I think it's a coping mechanism for a lot of loneliness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd be curious to know how many priests get scalded by the incense mace.
No, we leave
it. You know what happens every once in a while? Somebody gets burned.
When you play with incense, you're gonna get burned.
That's what they send the altar boys up to, because they're essentially the interns, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny, want to go get that mace up there?
Go catch. Go catch that burning mace. But I just went on a long tangent, but I think we got somewhere.
I guess it's Thanksgiving, so everyone's getting turkeys, right?
Turkeys.
What are you thankful for?
What am I thankful for? My wife. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my friends, my church. The fact that my eczema's gotten better.
Oh God. Okay, next. No, those are good things to be thankful for sure. I am thankful for. Actually, I just became an uncle last Saturday, which is great.
Congratulations!
Yeah, beautiful little baby girl that I have yet to meet. She's over in North Carolina, but my sister and her brother-in-law are very happy, so I'm very thankful for that. I just got a new job recently. Family, friends, all that good stuff, opportunities. And every once in a while I just kind of stop and I look around and I think, God, like we have it really good. like the fact that we're sitting in a shelter with so much electricity and everything, just like thinking about my ancestors and all the stuff that they had to go through. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's something else.
What about you, John?
I had Thanksgiving in October, so I couldn't be bitter until Christmas.
Okay.
That was a slow burn on your part.
But speaking of turkeys, have you seen this? You sent this to me. The
Butterball.
The Butterball's 5 craziest help requests have been circling around on the internet.
There's an apostrophe in there, by the way, in Butterballs.
Butterball.
When you said it, it just sounded dirty.
Which some of these things are hilarious. What were some of them, Donovan?
I know in one instance there was a caller who was very upset and remiss over the fact that, well, he wasn't upset, but he was worried that he had carved his turkey with a chainsaw. And he was asking Butterballs if perhaps the chain grease was going to adversely affect his turkey.
Gosh.
There was what's the next one? Let's see.
The next one's my favorite.
Why don't you elaborate, John?
How do you carve a turkey when all of its bones have been broken? There's a story there.
Yeah, there is. That turkey had a rough ride.
It did. That turkey.
What I liked was the one where the guy called in and said, "What's the best way to cook a turkey that's been frozen since 1969?"
Hey, that's a good year. We went to the moon.
And I like how the last one was, "How do you thaw a frozen Butterball?" Oh man!
I'm guessing these are the best and brightest.
You know what I did one year, which is cheating. I admit it's cheating, but it made Thanksgiving very, very enjoyable. I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
Are we looking at the same thing?
So. This website has a picture of a baby with abs that has me laughing in the margin.
Okay. Well, let me explain this. So it's a baby with abs drawn on. So like abs and pecs drawn on its stomach. And then it's got like a beard drawn on and eyebrows, like very Groucho-esque eyebrows. And the caption is, when dads are left alone with the baby.
Oh, man.
It's terrible.
What I was going to say is I got a pre-cooked turkey, which you just put in the oven for like an hour.
Where'd you get it from?
Like a Ralph's or Vaughn's or something.
Simple.
And I think it was the same price too. It wasn't like didn't cost more or less than a regular turkey. I got it like on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them left.
Yeah.
And we just threw it in and it was like delicious.
My sister once did Cornish hens for Thanksgiving because I think we weren't going home. Like it was back when she was living out here, and she did a wonderful job with these Cornish hens. And it was, it was a different sort of poultry that you don't usually have.
Yeah. Does it taste weird?
No, they're good. They're definitely, I guess you would call them sort of a delicacy.
Yeah. Sometimes like
they're a little gamey.
You've had them before, John? I feel that way about
I
duck.
have.
I feel duck is kind of gamey and kind of poultry-like, but I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely has, I think, a little bit leaner thing going on.
The other thing that I saw going around was Superman's mustache in the Justice League.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Apparently, the actor of
Henry Cavill.
What's his name? Henry Cavill?
Yeah, Cavill.
Cavill?
Is it Cavill or Cavill?
Whatever, wherever you come from.
He had a mustache for another movie he was working on.
Mission Impossible 6.
Was it Mission Impossible 6?
Yeah.
And he had to do some reshoots for Superman. And because of his Mission Impossible contract, he wasn't allowed to shave his mustache. He already shot, half of the movie with his mustache. So they had to CGI out his mustache in Justice League.
He pulled a Cesar Romero.
He did.
That was one of the Twitter jokes. They said like, yeah. Like they said, not the first time DC has tried to pull the wool over our eyes on this one or something like that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I think my favorite was one of the Photoshop pictures they did was it was his face with a bunch of Christopher Plumbers photoshopped over his stash because of what is it? The whole controversy with Plumber taking Spacey's role.
Well, he looks it looks super strange. Like it doesn't look realistic at all in this.
Well, yeah, you're not. It just goes to show one, the cockiness of these people that they think that can actually. I don't know. To me, like if I was even with all the CGI that's happening, I think I would think while I was shooting it, I was like, maybe we should just cheat this so that we're not looking at his face. But I guess they really wanted those.
But what I want to know is
reshoots.
why couldn't he just wear a fake mustache for Mission Impossible? That'd be easier than having a CGI.
I don't know, man. I think
he spent like $40 million CGI.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. But at the same time, like, yeah, I guess you're right. But something tells me that fake mustaches maybe aren't as good as we think they are. Like, how many times do you think actors are actually wearing fake facial hair?
Most of the time. A lot of the time, yeah. Because not all of them can grow them.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I don't know. Maybe you're right.
And most of the time, actors are working on several things at once to where it's hard for them to keep consistent facial hair.
That's true.
But anyway, I just thought that was.
He looks good with the mustache, though. The mustache, I think, was a good look for him.
Yeah,
but obviously not as Superman. Why didn't they just rewrite Justice League to just include Superman came back and he has a mustache?
They never show him shave. It could be an interesting, growth for the character.
Maybe quite literally, maybe Kal-El doesn't grow facial hair. Although his dad had a beard, so I guess that theory's out the window.
That doesn't make any sense. You know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for a
Sir Crowder's restroom review of the week. Oh dear.
All right. It's been a while since I've done a restroom review. It's making a comeback.
It's been a while.
We gotta bring it back. This review, I went to the Magic Castle this last week.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I am going to review.
Well, and for those listeners who maybe don't know, it's kind of an LA lore, right? You know, it's
it's a very exclusive club
jinx.
for magicians and supporters of magic. It's like the playground for magicians, and like it's like the club for anyone who's involved in the magical arts. And our friend,
it's a lot cooler than it sounds, people.
but have you been to it? Have you
I
heard of it?
haven't. I've walked by it several times, but it looks it's like what would you say? It's historic.
It is historic
because it goes back like.
To the building goes back to the turn of the century, but
Right.
it became the Magic Castle in the 60s because Johnny Carson basically remodeled it, redesigned it, and set it up basically as his clubhouse to go like after the Tonight Show. That's where he would take people, and you weren't allowed to take pictures there. It was very like, guest list only, all that stuff.
Yeah.
My friend John, who's in the LAPD, gets to go because years ago
because of LAPD.
Well, because of LAPD.
Yeah.
No, but because he just kicks down the door.
Yeah.
LAPD.
SWAT.
No, years ago, I guess there was a terrible, devastating fire in LAPD, and the firefighters saved this historical landmark, and basically they got carte blanche to go whenever they want. And so he took and his wife took Lacey and I to go as kind of a late anniversary present. So it was a lot of fun.
Have you ever watched there's a great comedy bit by Paul F. Tompkins about the Magic Castle that I think everybody should look up. It's
All right,
quite,
we'll look it
it's
up
one
then.
of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Let's go to the review here, and then we can talk more about it. All right. This restroom is one of the oddities of Los Angeles. Upon first entering, one might feel claustrophobic because of the extremely tight quarters. The constant rotating door of traffic, comprised of both spectators and magicians, only adds to the anxiety. When using the urinal, one would first question the architect's choice of installing glass splash guards. They would be hard to keep clean, and they don't provide any privacy, but somehow they work. Upon further inspection, the faux gas lamps and Houdini wallpaper add to its quaint and quirky atmosphere. I was also delightfully pleased to find the faucet handles were conveniently marked hot and cold to avoid any confusion. 5 stars for this magical, historic washroom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe
Very
maybe
nice.
those splash guards were magic.
Maybe.
Maybe they
Maybe. It
didn't
was like,
show anything. I don't know.
if you ever get to go there, I would highly recommend it, because I feel like if you live in Los Angeles, you know somebody that can get you in somehow.
Sure.
It's just a long wait list, but it was the history in that building was amazing. Well, we basically became friends with this one guy named Harry. Kind of started giving us this historical tour. He was just waiting in line to see a show with us, and I think he was Imagineer at Disney, and he's also like on the board at the Magic Castle. He's like responsible for doing all the Halloween stuff, which is a big thing for them every year.
That's fun.
He took us at the end of the night to the Houdini seance room, which I did not know. We were sitting in the room. He goes, "Hey, take a seat, hang out," or whatever. So I'm sitting in there, and I'm looking around the wall, and I'm seeing straitjackets and handcuffs and trunks and things on the wall. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of a cool room. And then I realized, like looking at the little placards, that these are all like his Houdini's actual like items.
Really?
Like basically this entire little room is the Houdini museum. Like that's like where his stuff is stored, and this is actual stuff. And I don't know if you know this about Houdini, but he was like a huge debunker of the mystical like
he was
movement, like the fortune tellers and seances and all that kind of stuff. And so they kind of do it as a tradition every year on his death day on Halloween. They do like these fake seances for fun.
He also died in a sort of badass way.
Yeah.
Just inviting people to punch him in the stomach.
That's not badass. It's stupid.
No. He could do it. Like
somebody
he
caught him
obviously
off guard.
not.
He would have like somebody caught him off guard. Somebody sucker punched him, and it like, what did it do? Like it split his spleen or something like that?
It wasn't during the part of the act where he did that, because he was
No, it was at
actually
a
like
bar.
he was like a very almost like an acrobat with some of the stuff he could do, and had like all this crazy core strength that he could.
Like that was the point. Like
punch
he could
him.
like could like create like an armor of muscle down there that would keep his organs from getting. Anyways, didn't work out very well.
No,
and he paid the price for it. But
Yeah,
you know
too
what?
bad.
Scofflaw nonetheless.
yeah, scofflaw nonetheless. We should, you know, what we should do. We should review on the Patreon page. We should review the Houdini movie starring Tony Curtis.
Oh! I thought you were going to say the one starring what's his name? Respect My Neck, SNL. What's his name? Shoot, the pianist.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was one with
I think
Adrian
he did
Brody.
like he did a History Channel movie, and it was Houdini. I was thinking about that the other day. But
Really?
Yeah.
He'd be a good cast for Houdini.
Yeah, I guess. I don't
guess
know.
so.
I don't know Houdini's face, but he's got the nose for it for sure. I mean, I feel like Adrian Brody. It's just like he's got the nose for it.
Yeah. He's like if Gonzo pressed up against a window.
Yes. Did you ever hear the story? Just quick side note on Adrian Brody. Did you ever hear the story about how he was like the main character in the movie Thin Red Line, which is a Terrence Malick movie, and it's a movie about World War II. He was the main character in that movie. People kept kind of warning him on occasion. They were like, hey, Terrence is kind of a bit of a savage in the editing room. Like, he will cut people out. And he was like, whatever. I know he'll cut some of my scenes and stuff. By the time, he didn't know until the premiere of the movie that Terrence Malick had basically completely removed his role and replaced him with Jim Caviezel, aka Jesus from Passion of the Christ. And like, if you watch the movie, it's the saddest and funniest thing ever. Adrian Brody shows up like in the background and on the side of scenes, never says, I don't think he ever says a line in the entire movie, but he's there in the beginning and the end. And it's clear that there was something, but anyways, it just,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to be looking out for that.
Yeah. Be careful. Anybody out there, if Terrence Malick asks you to be in one of his movies, you might get cut.
All right.
He will cut you.
All right, that's enough. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back. Actually, I got to go do something, and by do something, I mean I have to drop the kids off at the pool. But when you guys come back from the break,
very unprofessional.
you guys, you'll have James, the Black Friday deals expert. Scofflaws, I wanted to take a second to talk about Phoenix Shaving, which we talk about a lot on the show because they're our generous sponsor, and they are an amazing company. If you are a man and you like to shave, or you have to shave, why not go with some traditional wet shaving products from Phoenix Shaving? They have fantastic custom artisan aftershaves, soaps. They sell safety razor starter kits. They just have the whole kit and caboodle for anybody who wants to get that dapper looking shave in their life. Their scents are so unique, and their aftershaves just remove all sorts of shaving irritation or razor bumps. Ever since I've been using their product, I haven't been getting bumps at all, which for any of you curly-headed, coarse-haired gentlemen out there, it could be a real problem. But also, I just splash that stuff on all the time as my cologne, and I get compliments on it all the time. I use the Tombstone, which is my favorite and my wife's favorite. Hello. Maybe you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, maybe on Black Friday, maybe the whole Thanksgiving Day weekend, or maybe on Cyber Monday. If you go to gentlemanscofflaw.com/shave, that link helps to support our podcast. Also, you can use the discount code for their Cyber Monday deals, and the code is CHEER, CHEER, cheer. It's the holidays, people. I'm getting excited. Words like cheer and joy and good tidings and comfort and joy and all that stuff. So go to gentlemanscofflaw.com/shave to see all of the deals they have going on this Black Friday weekend, and get something for yourself, get something for the man in your life, and and I should mention too, they also have beard oils. So if you've got a man that's been doing the whole Movember thing, that's been either growing out a beard, they also have mustache wax. It's not just for the clean-shaven face folks, people. So go to gentlemanscofflaw.com/shave. I know it's the third time I said that, but get that in your noggin and go get some awesome shaving products from Phoenix Shaving and stop being a slave to the cartridge razor shave.
All right. Well, it looks like we're left to our own devices here. John
I guess
is on death's
we have to make
door
our own
with
fun.
his coffee. Yeah, I know. I guess I don't know. Is this guy just going to show up, or what's the deal here?
Are you guys gonna introduce me?
What is with that curtain? Like the vampire, and now this guy.
Yeah, this is.
How'd you get in that
Kind
house?
of nice setup you got here. I just came when my agent told me to come.
What's his name?
Still
Rodney?
doesn't answer my question. But yeah, what is your name?
James Rodney?
No points for originality there. No plenty of Jameses. All right, well, let's get this rolling then. So James, you seem like, I guess, relatively, you have an interesting role in this world. What do you do?
Well, I am the self-appointed Black Friday deals expert. I collect all the best deals going on around the country, and I compile them together, and I let everybody know about the savings that could be had on this Black Friday.
How do you let people know? Like, you have a blog or something?
Yeah, I've got a blog. I post them on Pinterest. I post them on the Gram, and people, it's kind of like a community service I do for people. I let them know, that way they don't have to give more of their money to all the greedy corporations.
I see. Well, you're political too.
So what's your number one deal?
All right. Well, I won't start with the number one deal.
What's your number 5 deal?
What a
I'll
tease.
end with the number one deal. But are you guys familiar with Amazon?
Yes.
Vaguely.
Yes. Are you guys familiar?
I've gotten some drugs from them actually
with
recently.
with a little machine called the Alexa?
That is a thing I'm aware of.
Well, this Black Friday only, you can get an Amazon Alexa Echo Dot for $49.99.
Okay. That's.
Is that
Oh
a
my
good
gosh. Deal? Yeah, John, I don't think you could hear, but Alexa just responded to this. This guy, James.
It's a very good deal. Well, you got to tell her to shut up, though.
Hey, whoa, take it easy there.
Alexa,
Hey,
shut up.
You're a guest in this. You're a guest in this studio, sir. Please keep your.
Oh no!
Now you got Alexa playing all sorts of.
Alexa, stop!
She only listens to me. Alexa, stop. See, she and I have a good relationship because I talk to her nice.
All
Now
right,
you
all
have
right.
to be careful.
Well, if you want an Alexa for $49.99, you can also save even more. When you buy 2, you can get them for $100, and with free shipping with an Amazon Prime membership, of course.
So I'm not really I don't know, John. Do you know how much Alexas cost on the right? I mean, that might be a good deal. I don't know. I've never bought an Alexa. I don't really know what they cost. I don't know what they go for.
I'm still not entirely certain I know what an Alexa is.
Okay, so I think we maybe have to go down the line a bit here.
What's next?
Okay,
What's next on the list?
impress us.
Do you shop at the Bed Bath and Beyond?
No, what's next?
Hey,
Well,
wait a minute. On occasion, I do frequent the alarm clock section there. It's a nice place to meet.
If you do
Meet people.
purchase things from Bed Bath & Beyond, I do not know if you know this, but this Black Friday and this Black Friday only, you can get 20% off with your local mailer.
It's interesting. Okay. I'll have to look into
20%
that.
off.
Yeah, 20% off.
That is a good deal for Bed Bath & Beyond.
I think we don't shop at Bed Bath and Beyond enough to know what is a good deal. So I'll have to take you at your word. What's the next thing on the list?
All right. Are you guys smartphone users?
Always,
Of course.
You use smartphones?
yes.
All right.
Although I do miss the flip phone. Just between us, guys, it.
A flip phone might be a better deal than this.
I don't know why I
But
said guys.
if you
but-
use a smartphone and you want the latest and greatest, this Black Friday only, and only this Black Friday, you can get the iPhone 10 for only $1,000. Of course, you can do this at the Apple Store or your carrier of choice.
I see. I am
Only
slightly
$1,000.
familiar with the iPhone and the price of the iPhone. That seems a little on the pricey side.
Not for an iPhone 10, it isn't.
Oh yeah,
And you can only get this deal on Black Friday only.
I see.
Let's go on to some of the other
Okay.
stuff I've got
Starting
here.
to get a little suspicious.
Do you guys shop at Costco?
Oh, it's one of my favorite places in the world.
Well, this Black Friday and this Black Friday only, you can get a Costco Gold Star membership for $60 for the whole year. That's just $60 for the entire year.
Okay, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on this one because I am a Costco member myself, and I have a Gold Star membership, and that is what I purchased that 3 months ago, and that's what I paid.
You purchased it on Black Friday?
No, I did. I mean, I purchased it on a Friday, but it wasn't Black Friday, and I paid $60.
It must have been some sort of pre-Black Friday sale then,
No,
because
this was
as
in
I said,
August.
these are the best deals around.
I think you're a little bit off track
Exclusively available on Black Friday.
All right, well, let's
you
just
guys
keep
watch
going.
movies, right?
here. We talk about them all the time.
You like movies? Yeah.
John,
you like,
John, do you like
Yeah.
movies? I think we're losing James. I think you're losing John. You need to hit him with some better
okay,
deals
well, this
here.
one will get you. Okay.
Okay.
This Black Friday and this Black Friday only, you can see the Justice League.
Oh,
That's
boy.
the one with both Superman and Wonder Woman in it.
and Superman's mustache, apparently.
And you can see it in real 3D for only $19.49 at AMC theaters, and that's just $16.49 for kids, and of course a $175 convenience fee if you purchase online.
Okay. Well, first off, I don't even think I'd want to see the Justice League if somebody gave me a free ticket like that. It's been getting savaged
Well, the
at
point
the
is,
reviews.
these aren't free
Superman's
tickets.
mustache.
These are discount tickets, and they are the best
But
deal
see,
you
my
can get
point
this Black
is
Friday.
that you're first of all, I'm extremely insulted as a Movie Pass member. Just signed up this last weekend, and I don't think that is that great of a deal. To be honest with you, I
Well-
mean, it's $20 is the standard price for a 3-dimensional viewing, and I think you're I don't know if you're very good at your job, James.
Right,
I
this
don't
is a
mean to
hell of a deal.
insult you.
I comb the internet for the best
Where's Jordan
deals
find these guys?
on these Black Fridays. All right, and finally, this is the deal
Okay.
of
So
the year
should
because it
we-
only.
Should we lead up with a drum roll, perhaps?
You can do that if you want.
Okay, John, let's do this drum roll because I feel like he's going to hit us with some knowledge.
And this Black Friday, if it happens to be your birthday, you can go to Starbucks Coffee and receive a free drink with your Starbucks Rewards account.
And that's on your birthday.
Yes, if Black Friday happens to fall on your birthday, you'll get a free drink this Black Friday and this Black Friday only.
Okay. Well, James, I think it's been nice having you. I'm glad we didn't offer you any Murphys because I'm going to need one after.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. And let me leave you with a few tips before you leave.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, plug anything. I guess you can plug your tips.
Well, make sure, number one, remember, get in line early. Number two, remember, know what you're looking for.
Okay.
And number three, bring your cash or credit card or payment of choice. You can't go wrong on Black Friday. These are the best deals you'll find anywhere. And I will link to them on my blog this Black Friday and this Black Friday only.
Oh my gosh, he just disappeared back into the curtain. What the?
I heard the poof.
Oh my God. It was like a flash of light and jeez. Well, that was severely disappointing. I'm going to just come out and say it. Well, I'm going to need another Murphy's to get over that interview. So we're going to go to another quick break and we'll be back with Scott from Aristocob.
Scofflaws, I wanted to take a second to talk to you about Patreon. Now, if you've never heard of Patreon, basically it's a platform for creators, for patrons who are fans of a given creator to help support their creation. So we have a Patreon page for the Gentleman Scofflaw podcast. You could support the show for as little as $1 an episode, which is what? This is just cheaper than a Starbucks coffee, right? So maybe give up one. Why does everyone always do that? They say it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. Okay, what else do you spend $1 on? Maybe it's cheaper than buying Q-tips. Maybe you don't need Q-tips for the month. Maybe this month you avoid Q-tips, right? I don't know. I mean, I hear they're bad for you anyway, but maybe that's not true. I don't. Maybe don't sacrifice anything related to health. For the $1 an episode. But Patreon is great because you, the patron, also gets rewards for joining the Patreon. So examples of stuff that we have are extended interviews and outtakes, stuff that gets cut out of the episode that you don't hear for time's sake, because we try to keep a tight, entertaining show, and sometimes there is some gold that doesn't make the final cut. So you get to listen to some of that. Also, you get behind-the-scenes videos, photos, and bonus episodes. For example, we did a bonus episode at the Big Shave West, which was a lot of fun. So more of those type of things are coming, as well as monthly live video hangouts where you can interact with us in person, which is a lot of fun. We've done a couple of free ones to test it out, and it's been a lot of fun. We get to talk with the listeners in real time and get to know them, and they get to ask questions, and it's always a good time. And here's the pièce de résistance is when we hit our goal mark, we are launching a whole new movie review podcast, a Gentleman Scofflaw movie review podcast. Since we're all of us on the show are writers and filmmakers, and that's our background. We love movies. We're going to go through a catalog of what we think are either gentleman or Scofflaw-esque movies. So if you join, you'll get that show as well. Everyone who joins on Patreon at any one of the tiers, even at the $1 an episode, gets a free Gentleman Scofflaw vinyl sticker, which is super cool. It's like a full color sticker. It's really sticky. You could stick it on, anything you want to stick it on. Also, you'll get thanked on the air for your support. So check out patreon.com/gentscofflaw, or you could go to gentlemanscofflaw.com and click the support link on our menu, and it'll take you right there. We look forward to seeing you on Patreon, and thank you for supporting the show. All right, I'm excited to have this next guest. He goes by the name Aristocob on YouTube and has the website aristocob.com. Scott of Aristocob, thank you for coming on.
It's really great to be here. That's unusual to have an introduction. Usually I have to introduce myself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's how it goes on podcasts. You don't have to introduce yourself. We do all the work for you. Well, I first discovered you when I started smoking a pipe 2 years ago. About this week, 2 years ago, which is crazy. And I remember looking up on YouTube for tutorials, which I do for anything nowadays. And one of the first things that came up was your video. And so I learned how to, to light and tamp and how to smoke it and stuff. And I started with a corncob pipe that I had as a prop pipe in my bag of props and costumes for all the videos and stuff I work on. And I got really lightheaded the first time, but I kept watching your videos. So for our listeners that don't know you, let's hear a little bit about your background and what you do and how you got into pipe smoking.
Okay, been smoking a pipe for way too many years. Started smoking a pipe when I was 15. Oh, wow. And I finally am now at the age of 54. Admit that to my parents because they didn't know that.
Yeah.
And when you're a young man smoking pipes, you smoke corncob pipes. It's what you can find at the drugstore.
It's true.
And you smoke all the nasty drugstore blends.
Yeah.
Right. So I would smoke them off and on, and in between that, some Swisher Sweets, and then not smoke. And I'd have these long periods of no smoking. And then probably in my early 20s, decided I would go ahead and give it the real college try, and bought a good pipe, a good briar pipe, or so I was told, and tried smoking. And while I enjoyed smoking the pipe, there was something about it that wasn't right for me. And I think because I had tried smoking corncob pipes all those many years before, there was something about that experience and the taste and the feel in my hand that was wrong.
Yeah.
So I bought a corncob pipe. I loved it. I had friends and tobacconists that were telling me that I was crazy. I needed to buy a more expensive briar pipe.
Yeah.
And I went through that cycle probably 10 times or over 10 years. I went through it time and again where I had put the corn cob away, buy a more expensive briar, try smoking some English blends. Guys would mock me about smoking aromatic tobaccos. And finally, I just said, forget this. I like aromatic tobaccos and I like them as corn.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's funny because I obviously haven't been smoking as long as you, but I find that I enjoy my experience much more when I'm smoking a corn cob. Like to me, I don't know, it smokes better. It just, it feels better to me. But it's kind of changed now in the age of like Instagram and YouTube and the kind of pipe smoking community that's around nowadays. Like there's this real kind of connoisseurs of corncob pipes. It seems to be a preference of a lot of people.
I think you're right. I think that a lot of folks have come to terms with the fact that they just smoke really well. You don't have to break them in. You don't have to smoke them in a particular way. And let's say you do something wrong. You're smoking it with the window down in your convertible and you mess it up. All right, no big deal. You go buy another one for $8 somewhere and you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I kind of like my older ones that I've been smoking for a while, so I feel like that would still suck for me if I dropped it out the window.
Yeah, you're right. I get folks that'll email me and ask me about that, and they'll say they have a favorite corncob pipe that they've burned through or done something that they shouldn't have, and what can they do? And they can put pipe mud in it and be almost as good as new.
Yeah, so I want to talk about your YouTube channel, Aristocob, and your website, aristocob.com. Which came first, and how did that come about?
Let's see. I think what came first actually was we were taking a trip out to Denver, my wife and I, and I noticed that we were going to be going past the Missouri Nourishing factory. And so I found a restaurant that I really wanted her to try in Washington, Missouri, as an excuse to go to the factory. And when we got there, we first off, they had a museum that was closed, and they wouldn't let you into the factory. So it was a total bust. But they did have a little, like a retail space in their office. Okay. And I'm standing there looking at these beautiful corncob in sizes I've never seen before. And I asked them, where can I buy these? Why are these not available? at my local tobacconist. And they explained to me that that's the challenge. Tobacconists want to sell you an inexpensive and kind of embarrassing corncob pipe, get you smoking, and then trade you up to briar pipes. And I thought about it on the way to Denver and thought, I wonder if they would be okay with me selling these online. Oops. That's not me.
What's that? Where's that coming from? Is that you, John?
What?
What's that? That like?
It was me.
Oh, God,
it's the cord on his iron lung.
Oh, there we go. Oh man, you all right, man? Get some water or something. I hate to see you like this.
John, does anyone Heimlich maneuver?
Yeah, are you okay, John? Are you not choking on something?
It's just really bad today.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
I was trying to hide the microphone underneath a cushion.
I like that you kept a total straight face and didn't and acted like it wasn't you. I was laughing.
I'm just glad that wasn't me.
I was like, I could see I could see your mic, Scott. So I was like, it can't be. It's not even touching his shirt. That's not touching anything. All right.
Well,
okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So yeah, it's kind of like their little sneaky upgrade. They want you to buy the. Oh, John, are you okay, man? You all right? You don't have to do this right now if you're not feeling well.
So they did let us go into the office there where they had some beautiful pipes, some that I'd never seen before. And I asked them, I said, how come I've not seen these at my local tobacconist? And they explained that that's the challenge, that the tobacconists want to sell people pipes.
Yeah.
They want to get them started, but they'll start them with something that they hope they'll be embarrassed by. And that's a really inexpensive, maybe even a miniature corncob pipe. and then, get them hooked on smoking, but then, get them in the system buying more expensive briar pipes.
Oh.
So we on the way out to Denver, then I was just thinking about that. And I called them up from Denver and I said, would you mind if I sold your pipes on eBay?
Oh.
And they said, sure, why not? So this is over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I started selling their pipes on eBay. And then we hit a milestone where eBay kept changing their fees. And it got to the point where eBay and PayPal, which back then was an eBay company, they were making far more money on every pipe I sold than I was. So I decided to switch over then to opening our own website. So during that same period of time, I had started doing videos on YouTube just to get comfortable using a video camera because my employer, I'm a corporate trainer for a company, they were wanting me to do videos.
Oh, wow.
And I was so stiff and intimidated by that flashing red light on the camera. So I thought, let's just do this for the pipe community, and I'll get comfortable in front of the camera, and then away we go. That was 800 videos ago.
Yeah. Which
is just insane.
That's a lot of videos. So, I mean, how long ago was that now? Was that about over 10 years ago or? Well,
I think I just passed 9 years on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it's been a long, long time.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. And I thought for sure, if I were to continue to make videos, maybe there's like 20 videos that you could do about pipe smoking and then you're done. But that's not the way YouTube works. People will hit the subscribe button and they will wait aggressively for your next video.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at your old content.
Yeah.
And so here I am all these years later, smoking pipes, talking about pipes and selling pipes.
That's crazy. Yeah. You've promoted the habit to many people online.
I like to think, though, I use the word hobby.
I know. I'm messing around. I call it a hobby, too. My wife would call it a habit. I'd call it a hobby. But, yeah, it's funny because so corn. What I like about your site is there's such a variety of corncob pipes. Because when people think of corncob pipes, they think of the little the kind that you see in the snowman in the Christmas drawings, just the
Right.
little the little pot of corn cob that just, sticks in there and looks really cheesy. But there's so many styles and they're pretty cool
Yeah.
designs.
Yeah, I agree. And everything from really inexpensive, like $3 rough bare corn cobs, on up to, I think the most expensive pipe we have now is probably pushing $30, something like that. I'm smoking. It's kind of rare for me. I'm smoking one of our freehand pipes.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And I'm finding what I'm not enjoying about this right now is it's been so long since I've smoked it. The vulcanized rubber has gotten a little oxidized.
Oh yeah.
So it's got that funk to it.
Yeah, I know.
So
what you
I'm about to trade up by trading down to a cheaper pipe here.
Well, and that's also a cool thing too, is like through your site you can customize the pipes in a certain amount of ways, where you can pick, if you want a bent or straight, if you want a amber stem or a upgraded stem or a basic stem and all that stuff, which is like it's pretty cool. Like it makes the corncob pipe super cool.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that is really we figured if we were going to do this, we needed to service the heck out of our customers. I'm super picky about these pipes because I figure that you never know. The next pipe you ship may be somebody's first corncob pipe, and they may already be reluctant and looking for a reason to not like it.
Yeah.
That, the quality is bad or something like that. So we're pretty picky about them. And then we welcome people to contact us because, a lot of what happens in a corncob is completely hidden from view until you smoke it for a while.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a problem with it, just, let us know. We'll take care of it. But being able to sit there on it, I think is part of the fun.
Yeah, for sure. What's the history of corncob pipes? I always wondered, like, how does somebody look at a corncob and go, first of all, say, I'm going to make something out of that. And then, a pipe would be perfect to be made out of that little rind or whatever it's called. That's a cob, but it looks like a rind, basically.
So you're in California.
Yeah.
You're in California where people have been smoking out of unusual objects for years now.
It's
right?
true. Not me, but I have known many people that do.
Yes. All right. So I think by the time the founder of the Missouri Meerschaum pipe company back in the 1860s, he was approached by a farmer who had some corn cobs, and this gentleman was a wood turner from Germany, an immigrant. And he was approached by this farmer who asked him, can you turn these? Can you make a unique shape from these corn cobs? And what I've learned about this is that people have been smoking out of corncob pipes for many, many years before this guy started making them commercially. And I think
he would use a lathe for that.
Yes, exactly right. And to this day, they still use lathes. Many of the shapes that we sell are hand turned individually, which was a surprise for me when we finally did get a tour at the factory.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but you think about it, tobacco is a New World product anyway.
Yeah.
And so who knows? The Native Americans who were, big into maize, big into corn, they may have been smoking out of corn cobs for all we know.
Yeah.
But this gentleman started making them, and one of the things he found pretty early on was that they have a tendency to burn through.
Oh.
And especially when you're taking the time to hand turn them, you don't want them to be destroyed too easily.
Yeah.
So he hit upon the idea of putting plaster of Paris on them,
Oh, wow.
polishing them after that had dried, and then putting a finish on it. And that was really what his patent was back in the 1860s, was on what he called fireproof for corn cobs.
Oh, neat.
And that was that plaster Paris finish. So to this day, the smoother, more tactile, the more comfortable pipes that we sell have a plaster Paris filler and then a clear finish on them.
Wow.
But they've been made almost 150 years at the same location in Washington, Missouri, which is pretty cool.
And it's a uniquely American thing, too, because, I don't know how old briar pipes are, but I think of them as kind of being very European, and maybe I'm wrong about that. But the corn cob is like such an American thing to me. I don't know.
Well, again, tobacco was an American thing to begin with. And so I think probably the early days of the Europeans smoking them here, you think of guys like Sir Walter Raleigh, who was here in the U.S. from Europe. He was smoking in a clay pipe.
Oh, wow.
And, the briars, that's a root from a tree that comes out of the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
So that was not the first pipe that people were smoking out of.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to...
I will say that I actually believe that corn cobs are everyone's favorite pipe. They just may not know it yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can get on board with that. So, I mean, you described how they're made, but from what I understand, corn these days, these or maybe these pipes, they seem rather large. So, I mean, how are they able to make a pipe that size, like something like a Country Gentleman, which is we talked a lot about on the show, or the one you're smoking now? They seem like, how would you be able to carve a pipe out of that? It seems like there wouldn't be enough cob to do that.
Yeah, it's a good question. In the early days, they started crossbreeding to get the best properties of the various types of corn, and then eventually Missouri Meerschaum approached the University of Missouri to come up with a hybrid.
Oh, wow.
And the hybrid is made from cross-pollination of several of these old, I suppose they call them heritage seeds now.
Yeah.
And they end up with a cob. When you take the corn kernels off of one of their cobs, you are now looking at a bare cob that's bigger than corn on the cob. So picture sweet corn on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
That's the size of the corn cobs that they have. And they're very, very woody. Now, the corn that's grown today for eating, the corn cob itself is downplayed in the hybriding because they're going to chop it up, grind it up in the combine, and dump it back in the field as fertilizer.
Wow. Where
this corn is specifically grown for the cob. Not to say that they discard the corn. They do sell it. They use it for animal feed. It's also used by a whiskey company somewhere in the Midwest.
Wow, that's insane. So that they have their... So is it their special, like their own seeds that they use to grow these, or is it do other people use them for other uses?
It is their own seed. Now, the seed that there is a corn seed supplier who they buy the seed from, but that seed is hybrid specifically for them. So for example, this year, 2017, that supplier is growing several heritage blends in a huge field. And from the cross-pollination of those, we'll give them the seed that Missouri Meerschaum will grow in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And from that, they actually do some testing to make sure they're growing the best possible seed from that.
Wow.
It's quite fascinating what they're doing there. And I never imagined that it was to make something as simple and utilitarian as a corncob pipe.
Yeah.
Very, very scientific.
And it's crazy to think that, like, this day and age, when you think of a corncob pipe as like such an old, something that's from a bygone era, the fact that they're producing this much and they're so popular in like 2017, it's insane to think about that. Because like just a couple of years ago, I would have thought it was a prop. It was a prop for me, but I didn't know until I found your channel how popular they are.
Well, and there has been a resurgence in recent years, and I think not in any small part due to social media.
Yeah.
Because it did take pipe smoking kind of out of the closet, and so few people are smokers anyway.
Yeah.
And of the smokers in America, such a small percentage of them are even pipe smokers. So something like 25% of Americans self-identify as tobacco users.
Yeah.
And of that, less than 5% are pipe smokers.
Wow.
So of that group, how many of those folks are corncob pipe smokers? I would say at least 110% of them.
That's hilarious.
But we're on YouTube and we're connecting with one another through social media. So I think that has raised awareness for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me a little bit about International Corncob Pipe Month and how that started. Because, I mean, that's right now. We're in it right now, right?
That's right. The month of November. A couple years ago, just looking for a way to kind of promote corncob pipe smoking, we hit upon I keep saying we. It's my wife and I. My wife, Jandy, is so actively involved in our business. I travel for my day job as a corporate trainer, and so somebody's got to receive the orders and process and ship them. And my bride, Jandy, is really the brains behind this operation.
Wow.
So
great.
International Corncob Pipe Month came up a couple years ago as a way of just sort of promoting and also to give back, because what we've done in each year is given discounts for people who are going to participate in the contest, shooting a video on their channel. That's the other thing. A lot of new YouTubers are struggling for content.
Yeah.
You know, they'll sit there and just stare at their camera and wonder, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah.
So I give them a prompt every year and say, here, in this case, 2017, go someplace interesting in your area, someplace historic, light up your favorite corncob pipe, and tell us about what you're standing in front of.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's been kind of fun over the years to see these folks that maybe are otherwise kind of camera shy turning their camera on.
Wow.
And the video is not about their corncob pipe. The video is about something interesting in their neck of the woods.
That's super cool. And I like that you're giving people prompts, because there's so many YouTubers that you can tell they just turn on the camera and didn't know what they were going to talk about. And you're like, this is so boring. Like, you just have an outline at least if you're going to turn on the camera.
That's a great idea. I was thinking about doing that.
Well, like with your videos, I feel like there's always a purpose when you're like, I'd see the title and I know what the video is going to be about. And, you know, you're very comfortable in front of the camera, despite what you said about being, you know, terrified of the red blinking light before. And so it's easy. Like, it feels like I'm watching a friend, you know?
Well, thank you. It is far more comfortable now, but I still have those moments where I'm afraid to start the process. And you know what the nice thing about it is, there's a delete button. You know, so if you record something, or, you know, for example, you might have a coughing fit while you're trying to record something, you can delete that.
Exactly. But we might not delete it. We just might put it in there to mess with John. We'll see. Well, how should one get started pipe smoking? Is there a specific pipe, a corncob pipe that you recommend, in a specific blend, or what? How would, if somebody that's totally new that hasn't done it before, which is a lot of our listeners, some of them do smoke, but for somebody that's it's the first time, what should they do?
Yeah. Okay. First thing, of course I do recommend corncob pipes, and not because I want you to buy them from me. Go to your local tobacconist, and hopefully you have a legitimate tobacconist. You can tell when you walk in the store if the pipes are predominantly made of glass. You are not a legitimate tobacconist. But and more often than not now, they are cigars and tobacco is what you're going to find.
Yeah.
And buy a corncob pipe. Or of course you could buy it from me, but I want you to get connected to your local tobacconist, because they'll guide you through their more popular tobacco blends.
Yeah.
And don't spend a fortune on the pipe. Practice a little while packing and lighting and smoking the pipe. And the beauty of a Missouri Meerschaum corncob pipe is the fact that you do have a pipe that's going to last you a while.
Yeah.
So you want to avoid Chinese corncobs. There are Chinese corncobs out there. And they, by law, have to say made in China on the bottom. And if they don't say made in China, but if they don't have a sticker on the bottom that says Missouri Meerschaum, just walk away.
Okay.
You know, this is the company or the country that put melamine in children's formula. And I don't think we want to be smoking out of a corn cob that maybe was made with genetic, what do they call that? GMOs.
Oh, yeah.
Genetic modified.
Or lined with asbestos or something.
you don't know. And they're pretty cheap quality. If you ask your local tobacconist, what is your most popular aromatic tobacco? Yeah. They will point to one. It probably has a store name to it. You know, we call this Benjamin Secret or something like that. Yeah. It's Lane 1Q. Yeah. Lane 1Q is the most popular aromatic tobacco sold in America. It's sold in bulk through tobacconists. And the company Lane is the company who owns Captain Black.
Okay.
So, you know, Captain Black, that's a tobacco that our grandpas all smoked.
Yeah. 'Cause you can get it everywhere, or used to be able to.
I would suggest avoiding Captain Black if you can get yourself some Lane 1Q, because the stuff that they sell to go on the drugstore shelf has chemicals in it that are designed to keep it moist.
Ugh.
And they don't do that with the bulk blends that they sell through the tobacconist. Okay. And then you'll find out, if you think, gosh, this is just cloyingly sweet, then work your way through their English blends or some of the Oriental blends. There's all these different methods of processing tobacco that gives it a unique taste.
Yeah.
And that's half of the fun, I think, is exploring and finding a tobacco or a variety of tobaccos that fits your taste.
Yeah.
And what do you prefer to smoke?
I generally like you. I like Lane 1Q, and I don't really get into Englishes that much, but I do like Frog Morton Cellar. Which is, and then there's this one, but I don't know what, I know it's sold in bulk at this tobacconist in Texas whenever I'm back visiting family. It's called Aristocrat, and I think it's pretty much, it's like Lane 1Q with a little more vanilla in it, so.
Okay. Well, Lane is kind of a little bit like, oh gosh, forgive this comparison. It's like Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Right. Where Taco Bell, they've got some beans and they've got some chicken and some steak and some beef, and they mix it in different combinations and different tortillas.
Yeah.
Lane has got some of their blending tobaccos that they mix, and you'll find Lane BCA is their black Cavendish.
Oh yeah,
and some of that black Cavendish is in Lane 1Q.
Okay.
For example. And so again, if you kind of smoke your way through some of those Lane blends, the tobacconists, they'll guide you to what their more popular tobaccos are. And the advantage of that is just the economy of scale. You don't want to buy the tobacco no one else buys.
Yeah.
it's going to be more expensive, and it may be very dry or very moist.
Yeah.
You want to buy the stuff that's constantly going out the door at the local tobacconist. And you can buy these online as well.
Yeah, and one of the ones that I enjoy, I like the ones that I've tried of McClelland. I've enjoyed quite a bit, but there's this one that they come out every year called Holiday Spirit, and that's like, I really like that, but it goes so quickly. I can never order it in time before. It's like I get one tin a year, and then I want to order another one, and it's like, I won't be able to get it till next year. So that's the one thing too, is they're in limited quantities, a lot of these small tobacco companies.
Yeah, there's a tobacconist in Cincinnati called Strauss Tobacconist. They have a location in Covington, Kentucky as well.
Yeah.
And every Christmas, actually every Thanksgiving, they come out with a blend called Wenceslas.
Oh, really?
And it's available until it's not. And then as soon as they're done, they then switch over and make another blend that's called, I think it's called Resolution. And that's available from Christmas till it's gone. And it's actually the same flavorings, the same toppings or casings as Wenceslas, but the burley in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
And if you buy a couple ounces, you better buy 8, because if you like it, you won't get it again until next year.
Yeah, and there's what's the company that does like Penzance and all that stuff? They're like, I forget what, but they're like just a group of old guys that blend tobacco, and when it's gone, it's gone. And most places will give you a limit on how much you can buy if they have it in stock.
Yeah, you've asked me too quick, and those are tobaccos those tend to be English, and they're much stronger than what I prefer.
Yeah.
So while I've tried it, I've had folks that have sent me samples of it. Oh, you got to try this.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. If I was smoking all day long, and by the end of the day, my tongue is not picking up even the most subtle or the harshest flavors, then maybe I would be smoking. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Your late night tobaccos, right? Like Nightcap, they're very strong. They're the strongest tobaccos that a pipe smoker would smoke in the day.
Yeah.
I don't smoke my pipe throughout the day for the most part. I'll get a couple bowls in at best in a day. And so I don't move through the harsher tobaccos myself.
Yeah. It'll knock you out. I mean, the first time I ever smoked it, I got lightheaded because I was smoking too fast. And there was one that's not it's not Nightcap, but it's by the same company. It's called Royal Yacht, I think it's called.
Oh, yes.
And that one knocked me over when my brother bought it like 2 Christmases ago, and we were both smoking it. And I got up when we were done, and I was like loopy, like just falling all around.
Yeah, I mean that's another good point. Let's go back to that new pipe smoker.
Yeah.
Typically, pipe smokers don't inhale.
No,
but that doesn't mean you're not getting nicotine. You certainly are. You're getting nicotine through your mouth or through your tongue. I retrohale, so I exhale from my mouth out my sinuses, and that picks up some more. That's to me, that's about the best way to taste tobacco, because our tastes are so interconnected with our olfactory.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Anyway. If I don't retrohale, I don't really truly taste the tobacco.
Yeah.
And but don't inhale this stuff. And boy, if you're inhaling something like Nightcap, you're done. You're done for the night. You know it.
I'm trying to figure out how to inhale from the mouth and exhale through the nose without it going down into my lungs.
Okay, good. That's a good point. You release the air from your mouth as you are exhaling. So the air is coming out of your lungs and heading out your nose.
All right.
And you are then exhaling out through your lungs. You can push that out through your sinuses. A lot of folks say it just isn't possible. It takes practice.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. The day that you get it, you will really feel like you've accomplished something, because you have.
Yeah, and I actually learned how to do it from one of your videos, and I agree. You do get more of the aromatics that way, and it's definitely you get the full taste of it all.
Yep.
And yeah, it people always get freaked out when you do it, though, when they see it coming out your nose. Like, what the heck?
Well, and they assume that you're inhaling.
Yeah.
Well, how can you possibly be blowing smoke out of your nose without inhaling? You can do it. If I inhale my lungs full of tobacco, I'm finished for the night. I can't take it. It's just too much for me. But again, it's sort of the beauty of being a pipe smoker. I can put my pipe down, as I did when I went out to California. I was gone for 8 days. I had tobacco and pipes with me and never had a chance to light up. And it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Where, a cigarette smoker's not going to make it a day because they're inhaling.
Not even an hour sometimes, depending on how addicted they are. But yeah,
that's true.
That's it's funny because I have asthma and I smoke a pipe and I've never inhaled in my lungs. And it's different being around cigarette smoke. I'm actually allergic to the chemicals in a lot of cigarette tobacco or the paper or whatever it is, where I start sneezing, the back of my throat itches when I have friends around that are smoking cigarettes. I never have gotten that with pipe tobacco ever. So there's definitely a difference there.
Well, yeah. And again, if somebody has a bad experience with the tobacco, let's again go back to that person who's smoking for the first time. Don't blame tobacco. It may very well be that the blend you've chosen has got a lot of additional flavoring or chemicals in it. There's the advantage of going with an English blend. An English blend doesn't have to be coarse or harsh. Those are for the most part all natural tobacco flavors, and they're getting those various flavors by fermenting and aging and mixing different tobaccos together to get all those different flavors.
Yeah.
There are some tobaccos. There's one in particular that's made down in Louisiana. They actually ferment it in whiskey barrels. Oh, wow. And that stuff is nasty. If you happen to be in the room when they're popping the lid on that barrel, you don't ever want to smoke it. But they put little teeny bits of this. It's Perique. Little teeny bits of it into tobacco, and they consider that a condiment tobacco. You wouldn't want to smoke a whole bowl full of it, but a little bit of it in tobacco is interesting. And as you smoke it, you'll think, "What is in this?
Yeah,
what is in this?" It's like eating a good burger that has an interesting aioli.
Yeah.
Right, which is a fancy name for mayonnaise with stuff in it.
It's true.
And it's the stuff. You find out, oh, there's truffle in the mayonnaise.
Yeah. Or there's ketchup in that. I never knew. I think that was this. Was it Fast Times at Ridgemont High when they're working in the burger joint? They're like, "What's the secret sauce?" And he's like, "Mayonnaise and ketchup." I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's really fascinating. I mean, you could really get into trying everything, and it's cool to see the artistry behind it. Not only in even the corn cobs, every single one is unique and different, even if it's the same model, because they're all made from a natural material. And then every tobacco is different. It's like, it really is. It's a lost art form, and it gets rolled in with all the bad tobacco stuff like cigarettes and all that junk.
You're exactly right. So speaking of tasting different tobacco, every December, my son and I'm assuming you know that he and I have a channel as well.
Yes, I do. Yes, I've watched it.
Okay,
before.
Markwood Men's Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And every Christmas for the last, I want to say 5 years, we've had our viewers send us a very small sample of their favorite tobacco. And we'll smoke that as we count down to Christmas. So beginning December 1st to Christmas, we call it Tobacco Advent, which I know that the real Advent calendar doesn't follow that calendar, but we do. And so we'll smoke 25 different tobaccos in the month of December, which is amazing to me that every year we end up having at least 20 of the 25 is something we've never had.
Oh, wow.
Where all this stuff comes from is amazing to me.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to that. Now, last year we made the mistake. We thought maybe we were asking too much by asking people to send us their favorite. So we said, send us your least favorite tobacco. That stuff that you put in your sock drawer hoping it would get better.
Yeah.
And we were a couple days into it when we decided to change gears and go back to our normal format, because we were getting comments from people saying, I'm not enjoying this, watching you guys suffer through this nasty tobacco. And boy, am I so thankful that they said that.
You could do 1 month, one Advent where you do everyone's favorite and everyone's least favorite, and just one of you does the other. And it's like a Russian roulette. You don't know who's going to get which one.
Oh, it's bad enough anyway, because these folks know that I tend to smoke aromatics, and so they sneak in some of this stuff that's just, it's so bad. I don't know how these guys smoke it, but we smoke it.
I'm that way too. I tend to like aromatics more too. It's more enjoyable to me. And I say just smoke what you like. Who cares what some other pompous idiot's going to say is a true pipe tobacco? But it's also what people think of when they think of like their grandfather smoking a pipe, that kind of, vanilla kind of smell in the air, cherry or whatever it is that he smoked. It's like, I don't remember ever smelling any English blends back in the, not to knock them, but that's what I don't remember. I remember the aromatics always.
I remember a brother-in-law that I had. He wasn't a brother-in-law for long. He smoked some English blends, and it almost turned me off the pipe smoking. and he was one of those pompous guys that would judge you if you were smoking an aromatic.
Oh no!
And I'm with you. Smoke what you enjoy. Smoke the kind of pipe you want. You can get what the folks in the YouTube pipe community refer to as pipe acquisition disorder or tobacco acquisition disorder. Because you can get, if you want, you can get completely obsessed with the hobby of hunting down a particular brand or shape or style of pipe.
Yeah.
Or the same thing can happen with tobacco. There's some really interesting yet rare tobaccos on the market.
Yeah.
And that's the other great thing about getting involved in a community, even a virtual community is there may be something in your neck of the woods that's unique that you can share with other folks, and in return they'll share something with you. Like there are some tobaccos up in Canada, although they cost like $700 an ounce. John, is that what you guys are paying?
About that.
Yeah. The first tobacco he bought, they sold him a Virginia blend, and it was like $30 for a tin. And I was like, first of all, you don't want to start with that, and that's ridiculous. Why do you spend that much? He's like, oh, it's just the way the government runs things here.
It's all we have. And the bad thing is, you walk in and everything, because of the laws, everything's covered up with black cardboard. So you walk in and you can't see anything. So you don't have the experience of, seeing all the different varieties of different pipes. It's just a wall of black cardboard everywhere.
Yeah,
and you have to ask for something specific, and then they go and find it behind the cardboard for you.
They make it,
and they
like
give you that, and the label's covered with some nasty picture of somebody with some gum disease or something.
Oh, on the cigarette packages, but not on the pipe tobacco tin.
It's
luckily,
it's like you're going to a XXX video store. They're trying to make it so shameful for you to buy tobacco.
But even there, you get to look at the boxes.
Goes like when you were a kid and you went through those swinging doors at the back of a Blockbuster. No, that's right. That's hilarious.
Yeah, what's going on back here?
Yeah. Why does it look like a Western set? Yeah.
Well, I bought 5 pounds of Lane 1Q a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And put it into mason jars to cellar it for a few years to see if it would improve the flavor. Or people were saying that you can't really age an aromatic and that there's no point in doing it. But I also was concerned about what was happening with our taxes here.
Yeah.
And the comments from folks outside of the U.S. on how opulent that was to have 5 pounds of something. I think I paid something like $120 total for the 5 pounds and got free shipping.
Oh, wow.
Now, what would 5 pounds of tobacco cost you, John? Even Lane 1Q.
I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. An arm and a leg, at least.
He's never been a math guy. But
well, I don't know how much is in a tin, so it's hard for me to gauge.
Usually like 1.75 ounces, I think, or some 2-ish.
Yeah, call it 2 ounces.
Okay, and what is that in metric?
Oh, man.
All right,
You're never going to figure this out.
2.2 pounds per kilogram.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's still math.
So 1 kilogram is like what, half a pound?
Let's say that a pound of tobacco would be 8 tins, right? So 8 times 5, you got 40 tins.
40 tins times $30. So you're looking at $1
million.
$1,600.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
That's
right.
it's like $120 US, right?
But what I want to know is, do these tobacco taxes, do they actually prevent people that are, because like I was talking with this I'm part of the LA Pipe Club. I was there yesterday, and we were talking about this where people that are pipe smokers, they're seeking it out. It's not like it's like an impulse buy at a gas station register or whatever. Like, you're not preventing the people that are going to do this anyway. They think I guess it prevents kids from buying cigarettes and stuff, but why rope in the pipes and cigars and stuff into that anyway? Because kids aren't going after that stuff. They don't have the money for it.
Right. Oh, we don't have time for FDA deeming talk, do we?
If you want to. I mean, we can talk whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm with you on that. A couple of years ago, it was a big tax was put on all tobacco, and they said it was to help to pay and offset the cost of kids' health care. Now, there has never been a dollar set aside in our tax dollars that has ever been given back to us, right? They're going to spend that. So let's say that you solve all child illness. They're never going to give us that tax money back, right? They're never going to take that off of the tobacco. And with the FDA deeming, they were straight up and honest about it. The reason we're doing this is we want to put this industry out of business.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because at the same time that they're telling the public, we're doing this to raise money.
Yeah.
If they want to put it out of business, then where are they going to get the money? Oh, that's right. They're going to tax your favorite hobby.
Yeah.
Right. So all those folks that think this is wonderful, just go ahead and tax tobacco out of existence.
Yeah.
Then the donut tax will be next, or the Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be whatever they want it to be. I guess it's just, I don't know. It's still a free country. Let people do what they want, and if I can understand, like with cigarettes and stuff, how that affects healthcare and stuff, and if you're buying healthcare, they should know if you smoke cigarettes, because that's a risk they're taking on. But I don't know, just like Like, let them deal with it. Don't tax people's hobby. I don't know. It's weird.
My favorite new one up. I'm sorry. My favorite new tax up here. It came in a few years ago. Is called the car tax. So if you simply own a car, you have an extra tax every year.
You got to get out of there, John. That's terrible.
Oh man.
You can obviously afford it because you've got a car.
Well, luckily I'm in the suburbs, so I'm not hit with that one yet. But I'm sure it's going to come this way.
Oh gosh.
Well, I was in California a couple years back, and I lit up a cigar on Manhattan Beach at 10:30 at night.
Oh yeah.
And I had a police officer shoo me off the beach, saying that was illegal. He went on to say that it would be illegal to throw a football or a frisbee on the beach as well.
Really?
Now, at the same time, wafting through the air was the smell of marijuana everywhere in that area at that time of night. And that is praised. It's celebrated out there. But yet my tobacco is at 10:30 at night. There's no kids out there on the beach.
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's forbidden.
Well, it's like
Crazy.
What I hate about the marijuana stuff is I feel like I'm always being lied to by it. I had never smoked it. I don't smoke it, but they always try to say, "Oh, this is a cure-all," or "This will cure cancer," and all that stuff. That's why it should be legal. But all the people that want it to be legal are not people that are doing it for like health reasons. I mean, it's already legal for health reasons, and I don't even believe necessarily the science behind that. But just say this is what you want to do because you want to get high, and you think it's a free country. You want to do that, whatever. But don't lie to me and say it's like some cure-all. And that's what bothers me, is the dishonesty behind all of that. I don't know.
It's like the occasional panhandler that'll have the cardboard sign that says he needs $5 for beer.
Yeah.
You want to give the guy something, at least being upfront and honest about it.
I know, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy. So you I've seen some of your videos. You talk about how you're into woodworking. I'd like to talk a little bit about that because John here is obsessed with lathes. The last few episodes, he keeps bringing it up. I think he's wanting to get into this hobby soon.
Well, the way I see it, it's kind of the gateway drug into woodworking because it's a relatively simple setup, and if you have the proper tools, you can make something really nice really quickly.
Yeah, you know what? I almost want to show you my T-shirt. My T-shirt says "Bacon is the gateway meat." So it's really, it's really neat because the wood lathe is one of the few tools that you can go with a piece of wood to the lathe and walk away with a finished project.
Wow! And
it was one of the first powered tools ever made, and it's the only power tool where the wood is powered and the operator is holding the cutter. And I suspect that that's because after they made the first lathe, someone said, "Let's not do that again."
That's funny.
I love turning. It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. At some point, though, you have to come up with projects that incorporate the turnings because you can only have so many bowls and vases and ballpoint pens littering your house. And so you got to start making tables and chairs and staircases, and there's nothing wrong with any of that.
Yeah.
But to me, that's where things get real challenging when you're turning, a number of spindles that'll be side by side by side, and they need to match each other. Yeah. That's where the real challenge comes in. It's like cutting hand-cut dovetails.
Oh yeah.
You want them to look as good as you can, and that's a lifetime of practice.
Yeah.
And you got to start now. The first thing you turn, get that out of the way, and keep turning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Have you ever done?
That's a great T-shirt slogan. Keep turning. Keep turning.
Have you tried to make any corncob pipes yourself on a lathe or on any sort of crafting?
I have turned one corncob pipe ever. And that was at the Missouri Meerschaum factory. We were touring. That's actually on a video on YouTube. Wow. And the guy was using a lathe, just like one of the lathes I own. And I was kind of surprised to see that there. And they said, "You want to turn one?" Didn't have to clarify. I was grabbing the chisel from the guy. And his name is Bob. Bob's been turning there for years, and almost every pipe that comes out of their higher end lines.
Yeah.
Anything, let's say, in about the $10 price range and up.
Yeah.
Those are all hand turned, and Bob is doing the fair share of that turning.
Oh wow.
And yes, I just have made that one. When you talk about something that's going to take you some time to do, I'm not going to turn something that at the end of all that process, it's worth $10.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn something, you turn a bowl or a platter or something like that. They can be worth hundreds of dollars when you're done.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
You could just sell them in Canada for that price.
That's true.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, $100 corn cobs.
What a deal!
What a deal. But
hey, there is a Canadian making $100 corn cobs.
Really?
Check out Ricardo Santia.
Okay.
Ricardo Santia buys corn cobs from Missouri Meerschaum, and then he's a Canadian, and he makes these beautiful custom pipes. We sold them for a while he was getting his business launched, and now he has his own website, and they're coming out of Canada.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh.
And you guys have a contest too every year, right? Where people kind of make their own versions of corn cobs and send them in.
Well, yes, we do. We call that the Cob Foolery Contest.
Oh, wow.
We started noticing that people were modifying corn cob pipes. They were maybe matching up a pipe stem from a pipe that they had that they really liked and making that work with their corn cob pipe, or adding a different finish or doing something. And I like the idea. Folks were sending me pictures. And so we hit on the idea to let's have a contest.
Yeah.
And the first year I had them send them to me. And then in that first year, I had people from around the world saying, I'd love to get in on this, but no way can I get my pipe to you quick enough.
Yeah.
So for the last several years, it's just been virtual. I've had them shoot a video with their pipe.
Okay.
And we call that the Cob Foolery Contest. And then this year we added a new category that we're calling the homegrown Cob Foolery. Missouri Meerschaum supplied us with a bunch of their seed corn, which is something that they, in their entire history, they can't remember ever making their seed available outside of their company.
Wow.
But we sold those in packages of 10 seeds and the pieces and parts to make a couple pipes.
Oh, wow.
And in April 2018, the people that grew them in 2017 will be competing with the finished pipes.
Oh, wow.
In the homegrown category.
That's crazy.
I'm looking at a couple of contests throughout the growing season, like the tallest plant and so on.
Oh, wow.
Tallest one was over 13 feet tall.
Oh, wow. Is it hard to grow corn like that? Like, do you need, can you just do it in a regular garden, or how does that work?
It's not difficult, but there are some things you have to follow. Like they don't get planted very deep, and you have to plant a number of them because they're susceptible to being blown over. And so you need several of them to kind of act as a windbreak. They work as a team.
Okay, that makes sense.
To support each other. And the one thing I didn't realize is it's really easy to overwater them. Oh. And a lot of people, they're anxious. They'll go out there and they'll water them every day. They actually prefer to be like almost on the edge of being dried out.
Oh, wow.
And that's how they grow best.
Wow, that's insane.
No, not that complicated. I didn't realize all those things, and I interviewed the general manager of Missouri Meerschaum again on a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Phil Morgan sat with me on a Skype conversation and picked his brain before we launched the Cob Foolery Contest this year.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I'll put the links to these videos you've mentioned in the show notes.
Great.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Scott. How can people can find you if they want to find you and they want to get some corncob pipes? Here's the plug time.
Okay. They can jump onto their favorite social media and search Aristocob.
Okay.
So I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I dangle around a little bit on I can't even think of it. I'm there so rarely.
Are you
Twitter,
on Pinterest?
Reddit, Pinterest, Twitter. I was on Periscope for a short time.
Oh yeah, there you go.
MySpace.
I still have my MySpace. That was Mr. Homer is what I was on MySpace. Believe it or not.
That's funny.
But YouTube, Aristocob, Aristocob. I tend to say Aristocob,
Yeah.
but it's Aristocob.
Yeah, that just sounds silly.
You know what? I own the
Aristocob
URL.
sounds right.
I own Aristocob.com and Aristocob.com.
Oh,
Either one of them will get you to my website.
Oh, that's smart.
And if you go to mywieneryourmouth.com, that's the Markwood Men's Breakfast Club channel.
Oh, I hope this is a Cobb foolery joke or
No, it's legit. It almost doesn't matter how you spell wiener because my son misspelled it the first time he bought the URL. So since I before E except after wiener.
Oh, that's how I'm going to teach my kids in the future. No. Thanks again, Scott, and we got to have you on again in the future. Maybe during the Cobb Foolery Month, it'd be fun to.
That would be cool. I appreciate the time, and happy pipe smoking to all you guys who may be listening and gals. It's a great community. If you're not involved, like I say, in an actual pipe club, join us on YouTube. We'd be happy to have you there.
All right, let's go to a quick break, and we'll be back with you. Now, this segment is brought to you by Audible.com. Now, for those of you who already listen to podcasts, you probably already know about Audible.com. And maybe you've tried it or maybe you haven't, but here's a good opportunity for you to try Audible.com for free and help support the Gentleman Scofflaw podcast. So if you go to audibletrial.com/gentscofflaw, you could sign up for a whole month for free, get your free audiobook, and that helps support us. That affiliate link helps support the show. So if you like listening to podcasts, you probably like listening to audiobooks. It's pretty much the same thing, except probably something a little bit smarter and a little more life affirming than what you listen to on the Gentleman Scofflaw podcast. Sorry, but you can listen to all sorts of books. I recommend. The Art of Manliness by Brett McKay. You can get that for free as your free trial. You can really download any book you want to on there. So go to audibletrial.com/gentscofflaw. There are tens of thousands of titles. I mean, why not get some knowledge in you, right? Right? I mean, if you're driving to work, why get mad in traffic? Why do that, right? Why not just listen to something that fills your brain, fills your brain and your soul. Or, maybe you're mowing the lawn, right? That's not fun to do. Mowing the lawn's not fun at all, right? But if you're listening to an audiobook, you're like, this is not so bad. I can do this. At least I'm learning something, or at least I'm being entertained, right? So, audibletrial.com/gentscofflaw and sign up today. And, tweet at us. Let us know what book you get, because I'm always looking for new book recommendations. All right, now back to the show. All right. I like that, Scott. He's a great guest. I've been following him for a while. It was great to have him on. And enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving week and your International Corn Cob Pipe Month. I mean, you got a week left to enjoy your corn cob pipe.
Got a week left to grow a mustache and enjoy your corncob pipe.
That's true. I can't believe we didn't do a single thing for November this month. That's just a
I
shame.
feel like it's kind of old hat, isn't it?
Old hat.
Yeah,
I guess
don't
it is
know.
kind of old hat.
I never really was on board with November.
John, I know you're sick, but if people want to support the show, how can they do that?
Well, there's a variety of ways that they can do what you just said. And one of them is...
Gosh, you're so loopy, John.
I am so worried that John is going to die right here on podcast.
The podcast.
Yes. Wait, are you okay?
Are you
okay?
Did you just have
having a little seizure?
Did you just have a
shoot,
seizure?
man. They do happen when I get tired.
Oh, bummer, man. All right, well, maybe we should just close. Maybe I can close this one out with Jordan, and you can get some rest.
All right, you get some rest there, John.
Jeez. I am so sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
That sucks.
All right. That was a great interview with Scott of Aristocob. I like Scott. I feel like he's a friend because I've watched him. He taught me how to smoke a pipe, basically, in his videos.
Yeah.
And John is he's not feeling too well. So as you heard earlier in the interview, he was coughing. So he had to take off.
He literally dropped dead during the interview. We're watching paramedics try to resuscitate him right now while we're selfishly plugging
We're
everything.
looking for a replacement right now.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Maybe that Black Friday guy.
Maybe. Coming.
Seems to have a lot of time on his hands. He only dedicates himself to one day out of the year.
You know what we got to talk about here is our Christmas special coming up on December 22nd.
Yes.
We have quite the little special plan. It'll probably be about a 3-hour special with a bunch of surprise guests, some of our favorites throughout the year, and a massive giveaway of a bunch of our merch, which you can, if you want to buy some, you can purchase them at gentlemanScofflaw.com. And all through the month of December, if you join us on Patreon, all the proceeds from our Christmas special are going to go to Operation Homefront, which, if you don't know about Operation Homefront, they do great things for the military and their families this time of year when they need the help. And you can see exactly where your money's going when you donate, which is super cool. I know. So join us on Patreon. You'll get all these extras. A lot of these things are starting in the new year, and if we get through this Christmas drive, we get a lot of supporters on Patreon. We'll be able to get this thing launched, this new movie review podcast, and some of the extras we've got in there waiting.
2018. It's the year of the scofflaw.
So, Donovan, you have a good Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Black Friday?
Yeah, Black Friday. Well, gosh, you sound like somebody I know, or at least I met recently. Well, and I will say a good Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too.
And happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners.
Yeah,
it is indeed a time to be
And don't
thankful.
forget to check out some of James's deals. I mean, if you're looking for Christmas gifts, it sounds like he had some great, really...
Run by Starbucks and see if you can see if it's your birthday.
All right. You are a gentleman in the scofflaw, my friend.
And you as well.
All right. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.
This has been the Gentleman Scofflaw Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Visit us on the interwebs at gentlemanscofflaw.com.
Captain says his ice on the river. We ain't getting home if we don't break through. So damn cold, I can't help but shiver. Rise and shine, we got work to do.